Maya Collins crawled through the narrow tunnel that led to the ship's heart. The metal walls were hot against her back. Sweat dripped from her face as she worked. The Defiance was a big ship, painted black like the empty space around it. Maya knew every bolt and wire in this ship. She had been its chief engineer for 3 years. Something was wrong with the quantum drive. Maya could feel it in her bones. Other engineers would need computers and tests to find problems. Maya just knew. Her hands could tell her what machines needed. Her ears could hear when engines sang the wrong notes. People called it a gift. Maya called it listening. The drive chamber was dark when she reached it. Maya turned on her light. The blue glow from the quantum core looked normal, but the sound was wrong. Too quiet in some places, too loud in others. Maya pulled out her tools and started checking connections. "Maya, where are you?" "Captain Lisa." Morgan's voice came through the radio on Maya's belt. "In the drive chamber, Captain. Something's not right down here." "Can it wait? We need to dock at Harmony Point in 2 hours." Maya found a loose wire, but when she looked closer, it was not. Loose by accident. Someone had cut it almost all the way through, just enough to cause problems, but not enough to show up on normal checks. "Captain, you need to see this." 20 minutes later, Captain Morgan climbed down into the drive chamber. She was a tall woman with short brown hair and sharp eyes. Maya had served under 3 captains, but Morgan was the best. She listened when Maya talked about the ship. "Show me," Morgan said. Maya pointed her light at the wire. "Someone cut this. See the marks? This was done with a blade, not wear and tear." Morgan bent down to look. Her face got hard. "How long has this been like this?" "Hard to say. Maybe weeks. The damage is small, so the ship still works. But whoever did this could access our systems. They could watch everything we do." Morgan stood up and brushed dust off her uniform. "Keep looking, check everything. I want to know what else they touched." Maya spent the next hour checking every system she could reach. She found more cut wires, loose connections that were too perfect to be accidents, and small devices she did not recognize. Someone had been very busy in her ship. The Defiance docked at Harmony Point right on time. The space station was huge, with ships from 3 different races coming and going. Humans, elves, and the lizard-like Xanthari all used Harmony Point for trade and meetings. It was one of the few places where all 3 races could meet without fighting. Captain Morgan walked through the station with Ambassador Ilara Moonwhisper at her side. Ilara was tall and beautiful, like all elves. Her skin was pale and her ears came to sharp points. She wore flowing robes that changed color when she moved. Maya did not trust her, but she could not say why. "The station seems busy today," Ilara said, her voice soft and musical. 3 new trade ships arrived this morning," Morgan replied. "Business is good." They reached the diplomatic section of the station. Morgan had meetings with station leaders. Ilara would meet with other elven ambassadors. It was all very normal and boring. Maya preferred working on machines to talking with politicians. While Morgan was in meetings, Maya got a message on her personal communicator. The sender was listed as a friend. Maya almost deleted it, but something made her open it instead. The message was just numbers and letters that made no sense. But Maya recognized the pattern. It was technical data, written in the same code that engineers used for ship blueprints. Maya took the message back to the Defiance and ran it through her computer. What she saw made her hands shake. The message contained plans for a weapon, not just any weapon, but something that could destroy entire fleets. The plans showed how to turn a ship's own quantum drive into a bomb that could tear holes in space itself. Any ship with this knowledge could become unstoppable. But that was not the worst part. The plans were written using human engineering codes, elven energy formulas, and Xanthari weapon designs. Someone had combined the best technology from all 3 races. Someone who had access to secrets from every government. Maya printed the plans and hid them in her toolkit. She needed to tell Captain Morgan, but not over the ship's communication system. If someone could plant devices in the drive chamber, they could listen to radio calls, too. Maya was walking to the station to find Morgan when her communicator buzzed again. Another message from a friend. "You found our gift. Good. There will be more. Watch for ships that move like ghosts and fight. Like demons. They are coming sooner than you think. Trust no one who knew you were coming to Harmony Point. The betrayer is closer than you know. Maya's blood turned cold. Only a few people knew the Defiance was coming to Harmony Point. The crew, station control, and the diplomatic staff. Someone Maya worked with every day was feeding information to an enemy. She started walking faster toward the diplomatic section. She had to warn Morgan, but as she turned a corner, she saw something that made her stop. Ambassador Alara was standing in a side corridor, talking quietly into a small device. Maya could not hear the words, but she could see Alara's face. The elf looked worried and kept checking to make sure no one was watching. Maya hid behind a support beam and watched. Alara finished her conversation and put the device away. Then she walked back toward the diplomatic section like nothing had happened. Maya waited until Alara was gone, then looked at the spot where the elf had been standing. There were no cameras here, no station security. It was the perfect place for a secret conversation. Maya's communicator buzzed one more time. The message was just 2 words. It begins. Alarms started ringing through the station. Emergency lights flashed red. The station's voice system crackled to life. All ships prepare for immediate departure. Long-range sensors detect unknown vessels approaching. Estimated arrival in 30 minutes. This is not a drill. Maya ran toward the docking bay where the Defiance was waiting. Whatever was coming, they needed to be ready. And Maya needed to tell Captain Morgan about the sabotage, the weapon plans, and her suspicions about Ambassador Alara. The war that everyone feared was about to begin. And Maya was starting to think it had been planned by someone much closer to home than anyone imagined. As she reached the ship, Maya looked back at the station. In the distance, she could see other ships undocking and moving away from Harmony Point. Everyone was running from something that was coming out of the dark. Maya just hoped they could run fast enough. The Defiance moved away from Harmony Point as fast as its engines could push it. Captain Morgan sat in her command chair watching the main screen. Maya stood beside her, still holding the printed weapon plans. "You're sure about this?" Morgan asked, looking at the papers. "The sabotage is real. I found the devices. And these plans?" Maya shook her head. "Someone knows too much about all our technologies." Ambassador Alara entered the bridge. Her face looked calm, but Maya noticed her hands were shaking slightly. "Captain, I've received word from my government. They want me to return immediately," Alara said. "That will have to wait," Morgan replied. "We just got a distress call." The main screen changed to show a star map. A red dot blinked near a planet called New Haven. "Human colony," Morgan explained. "Under attack by unknown ships. We're the closest vessel." Maya watched Alara's face carefully. The elf showed no surprise at the news. Either she was very good at hiding her feelings, or she already knew about the attack. "Perhaps we should wait for other ships," Alara suggested. "Going alone seems dangerous." "People are dying," Morgan said firmly. "We go now." The Defiance jumped to hyperspace. The trip to New Haven would take 6 hours. Maya used the time to check every system on the ship. She found 3 more hidden devices and disabled them all. Each one was smaller than her thumb and very hard to spot. Whoever planted them knew ships very well. When they dropped out of hyperspace near New Haven, the scene was chaos. The human colony was a small farming world with only basic defenses. 3 strange ships were attacking the main settlement. Buildings were on fire, and escape pods were launching from the planet's surface. "I've never seen ships like those," said Lieutenant Amy Foster from her position at the science station. She was young but very smart, and Maya trusted her observations. The attacking ships were gray and sleek. They moved in ways that should have been impossible. When the Defiance fired at them, they seemed to know where the shots would go before they were fired. "Their weapons are using human targeting systems," Maya said, studying her readings. "But their engines are elven design, and their armor, that's Zenthari technology." Captain Morgan's face went pale. "Someone is using tech from all 3 races." The battle was not going well. The strange ships were too fast and seemed to predict every move the Defiance made. Maya was trying to find a weakness when something unexpected happened. A new ship dropped out of hyperspace. It was large and brown, with scales painted on its hull. A Zenthari warship. Steam was leaking from several holes in its side, and one of its weapon ports was dark. "Human vessel," a rough voice said over the radio. "This is Commander Zara of the Zenthari ship Bloodfang. Those gray ships attacked us too. Request permission to fight beside you." Maya saw Captain Morgan hesitate. Humans and Zenthari had been enemies for decades. They had only stopped shooting at each other 5 years ago, and trust was still very thin. Unknown ships are using Zenthari technology too, Zara continued. They stole our weapon designs. They are enemy to both our peoples. Morgan made her decision. Permission granted, Commander Zara. Target the lead gray ship. Working together, the two ships were much more effective. Maya quickly modified the Defiance's weapons to work with Zenthari targeting data. The gray ships could predict human tactics, but they had trouble with the combination of human and Zenthari fighting styles. During the battle, Maya made an important discovery. She had been scanning the gray ship's communications and found something disturbing. The ships were learning from every shot, every move, every tactic. They were recording everything and sending the data somewhere else. Captain, Maya called out, these ships are studying us. Everything we do is being recorded and transmitted. Where are they sending it? Morgan asked. Maya worked frantically at her station. I can't trace it. The signal is too well hidden. But they're learning our weaknesses in real time. The gray ships suddenly stopped attacking and jumped to hyperspace. They left as quickly as they had appeared, taking all their data with them. The Defiance and the Bloodfang docked with each other so their crews could meet. Commander Zara was tall even for a Zenthari, with dark green scales and yellow eyes. She walked with a limp and had scars on her arms that looked fresh. Those ships attacked us 3 days ago, Zara explained to Captain Morgan. They knew our weapon patterns, our shield frequencies, our tactical procedures. They fought like they had been studying us for years. The same here, Morgan said. They predicted our moves too well. Maya showed Zara the weapon plans she had found. The Zenthari commander studied them carefully, her eyes growing wide. This is impossible, Zara said. Some of these designs are classified. Only our highest military leaders have access to them. Same with the human parts, Morgan added. These plans show technology that's supposed to be secret. Ambassador Ilara had been very quiet during the meeting. Now she spoke up. Perhaps both governments have security problems. Maya watched Ilara carefully. The elf was trying to look concerned, but something felt wrong about her expression. Dr. Amy Foster joined the meeting with new information. I've been studying the attack patterns, she said. The gray ships didn't just attack randomly. They targeted specific buildings on New Haven. All of them were research facilities. What kind of research? Morgan asked. Agricultural technology, mining equipment, communication systems. Nothing military, but all useful for building colonies. Commander Zara nodded slowly. Same with our attacked facilities. They took research data, not weapons. Maya felt pieces of a puzzle clicking together. In her mind, someone is collecting civilian technology from all 3 races, not just military secrets, but everything. But why? Morgan asked. Before anyone could answer, the Defiance's communication system activated. The main screen showed a figure in a dark hood. The person's face was hidden, but their voice was clear. Greetings, Captain Morgan and Commander Zara. You have performed admirably today. Your cooperation is exactly what we hope to see. Who are you? Morgan demanded. We are the future, the figure replied. We are what your 3 races will become when you stop fighting and start working together. Today's battle was a test. You passed. A test? Zara's voice was angry. People died today. Progress requires sacrifice. Your races are too primitive and warlike to survive what is coming. We will guide you to something better. Maya stepped forward. The gray ships. You built them. We improved them, just as we will improve your species. Technology from humans, wisdom from elves, strength from Zenthari, combined into something greater than the sum of its parts. Ambassador Ilara looked uncomfortable. She kept glancing toward the exits as if she wanted to leave. You're stealing our technology, Morgan accused. We are preserving it. Your governments hoard knowledge and use it for war. We share it and use it for growth. Soon, you will understand. The transmission ended, leaving the room in uncomfortable silence. Maya looked at the weapon plans again, then at Ambassador Ilara. Pieces were starting to fit together, but she needed more information. Commander Zara, Maya said, have you noticed any unusual activity from your diplomatic staff? Anyone acting strange or asking too many questions? Zara thought for a moment. My second-in-command has been very interested in our technical reports lately, and yesterday I found him trying to access classified files. Maya's heart began beating faster. Captain, I think we have a serious problem. Someone on each of our ships might be working for these people. Before Morgan could respond, alarms started ringing again. The sensors had detected more ships approaching. But these weren't gray vessels. They were human ships, coming from the direction of Earth. It's Admiral Kate Sullivan, Amy reported from her station. She's requesting immediate communication. Admiral Sullivan appeared on the screen. She was an older woman with gray hair and a stern expression. Maya had always respected her, but now she wondered if that respect was misplaced. Captain Morgan, you will return to Earth immediately. Bring all evidence and witnesses related to today's attack. That is a direct order, Morgan saluted. Yes, Admiral. What about Commander Zara and her ship? The Zenthari vessel will return to their territory. This incident will be handled through proper diplomatic channels. Maya felt her stomach drop. Something about this felt wrong. Why was the Admiral so eager to separate them? Why bring all the evidence to Earth instead of studying it here? After the transmission ended, Maya pulled Captain Morgan aside. Captain, I don't think we should separate from the Bloodfang. If someone is working for these mystery people, we're safer together. Morgan nodded slowly. I was thinking the same thing, but I can't disobey direct orders. Then maybe we need to be very careful about who we trust when we get to Earth, Maya said. As the two ships prepared to part ways, Maya made a secret copy of all her technical data and gave it to Commander Zara. If something happened to the Defiance, at least someone would know the truth. Watch your back, Maya told Zara privately. I think the betrayer is closer than we know. Zara's yellow eyes were serious. Same warning to you, human engineer. Trust only what your hands can touch and your eyes can see. The Defiance set course for Earth, carrying secrets that someone was willing to kill for. Maya just hoped they would live long enough to expose the truth. Dr. Amy Foster worked late in her small office aboard the Defiance. She had been studying communication logs for 3 days, looking for anything unusual. What she found made her hands shake. Ambassador Elara had been sending encrypted messages every day for weeks. The messages were hidden inside normal diplomatic reports, but Amy's computer training helped her spot the pattern. Someone had been very clever about hiding the data. Amy printed the evidence and walked quickly to Captain Morgan's quarters. The ship was quiet during night shift, with only emergency lighting in the corridors. Amy felt like someone was watching her, but when she looked around, she saw nothing. Captain Morgan answered her door immediately. She had not been sleeping well since the attack on New Haven. Captain, you need to see this, Amy said, handing over the printed reports. Morgan studied the papers with growing anger. Elara has been transmitting our technical data, crew assignments, and mission schedules. How long has this been going on? At least 2 months, maybe longer. The messages are sent to a relay station that bounces them around the galaxy. I can't trace where they finally end up. Morgan sat down heavily at her desk. So we have a spy. The question is, do we arrest her now or keep watching to see what else we can learn? There's more, Amy said. I found similar patterns in transmissions from other ships. The spy network is huge. They have people everywhere. Before Morgan could respond, Maya's voice came over the ship's communication system. Captain to engineering, we have a problem with the quantum drive. Please come immediately. Morgan and Amy hurried to the engineering section. They found Maya standing beside a large computer panel looking worried. I've been running deep scans on all our systems, Maya explained. Look at this. She pointed to the screen, which showed a complex diagram of the ship's computer network. Red dots marked dozens of points throughout the system. Those are monitoring programs, Maya continued. Someone has been watching everything we do. Every repair, every modification, every tactical decision. It's all been recorded and transmitted. Captain Morgan felt sick. How is that possible? Our security should have caught this. The programs are very sophisticated. They look like normal system functions until you know what to look for. Whoever designed this has access to our most classified programming codes. Amy looked at the display more carefully. Maya, when did these programs start appearing? Maya checked her logs. The oldest ones date back to when we first picked up. Ambassador Alara at the border station, but new ones have been added regularly since then. Then it's not just Alara, Morgan realized. Someone else on this ship is helping her. The three women looked at each other with growing concern. If they could not trust their own crew, they were in serious danger. Maya's computer beeped with an incoming message. The sender was listed as a friend again. "You are getting close to the truth," the message read, "but be careful who you trust. The enemy has people in your government, your military, and your crew. Admiral Sullivan is not what she seems. The meeting at Earth is a trap." Morgan read the message twice. "Who is sending these warnings?" "I don't know," Maya said. "But they've been right about everything so far." Amy was studying her communication logs again. "Captain, I think I know how to find our spy. These monitoring programs have to report back somehow. If I can track their transmission patterns..." She worked at Maya's computer for several minutes. "Running trace programs and checking data flows." "Got it," Amy said finally. "The programs are sending data through the communication console on Deck 7. That's near the crew quarters." "Who has access to that area?" Morgan asked. Maya checked the crew assignment chart. Most of the senior staff: Lieutenant Commander Julie Brooks, Chief Medical Officer Dr. Helen Carter, Communications Officer Linda. "Right, and..." She paused. "Navigator Tony Martinez." Morgan knew all those people personally. She had served with some of them for years. The thought that one of them was a traitor made her feel sick. "We need to be very careful," Morgan said. "If we're wrong about someone, we could destroy an innocent person's career. If we're right, the spy might try to eliminate us before we can expose them." Amy suggested setting a trap. They would feed different false information to each suspect and see which version got transmitted to the enemy. Meanwhile, Ambassador Alara was becoming more nervous every day. She spent most of her time in her quarters and barely spoke during meals. Maya noticed that the elf looked tired and kept checking her personal communicator. On the third day of their journey to Earth, Alara made a mistake. Maya was working in a maintenance shaft near the diplomatic quarters when she heard voices through the wall. One was Alara's musical elf voice. The other was human but disguised by an electronic device. "The investigation is getting too close," Alara was saying. "They know about the monitoring programs." "Then accelerate the timeline," the disguised voice replied. "Initiate final protocols when we reach Earth." "What about the crew? Some of them are good people. Sentiment is a luxury we cannot afford. The collective's goals are more important than individual lives." Maya held her breath, trying to hear more. "I never signed up for mass murder," Alara said. "You signed up to create a better future for all races. Sometimes that requires difficult choices." The conversation ended, and Maya heard footsteps moving away. She waited several minutes before crawling out of the maintenance shaft. Maya now knew that Alara was definitely working for the enemy, but she also knew the elf was having doubts, and there was someone else on the ship helping her, someone who was willing to kill the entire crew. Maya found Captain Morgan in the ship's gym, working out her frustrations on a punching bag. "Captain, I overheard something important," Maya said, and told her about the conversation. Morgan stopped punching and wiped sweat from her face. "The collective. So that's what they call themselves." "There's more. They mentioned final protocols. When we reach Earth." And Alara sounded like she was having second thoughts. Morgan made a decision. "We're going to confront Alara tonight. Maybe we can turn her into an ally." "What about the other spy?" "Amy's trap should identify them soon. Then we'll deal with both problems at once." That evening, Captain Morgan went to Alara's quarters alone. She found the elf sitting by the window, staring out at the stars. "We need to talk," Morgan said. Alara turned around. Her usually perfect appearance was disheveled, and her eyes were red from crying. "I wondered when you would come," Alara said quietly. "You're working for the collective. We know about the transmissions, the monitoring programs, everything." Alara nodded slowly. "Yes, I have been feeding them information about human technology and tactics." "Why?" Alara was quiet for a long moment. "Because I believed they were right. Humans, elves, and Zenthari have been fighting for centuries. The collective promised to end the wars and create a unified civilization. By stealing our technology and attacking our colonies? By proving that cooperation works better than conflict. The attack on New Haven was supposed to show that humans and Xanthari could work together when they faced a common enemy. Morgan sat down across from Alara. People died because of that attack. Tears began flowing down Alara's face. I know. That was not supposed to happen. The collective promised they would avoid casualties. And now I see that I was foolish. The collective does not want peace. They want control. They plan to eliminate anyone who opposes them, including members of their own organization who ask too many questions. Morgan leaned forward. Help us stop them. If I do, they will kill me. They have assassins everywhere. If you don't, they'll kill all of us anyway. You said they're planning something when we reach Earth. Alara wiped her eyes and straightened her shoulders. For the first time in days, she looked like the confident diplomat Morgan remembered. Admiral Sullivan is one of them. She plans to arrest you and your crew when you arrive. Your evidence will be destroyed, and anyone who knows, the truth will disappear. Can you prove this? Alara reached into her desk and pulled out a small device. This contains records of all my communications with the collective. Names, locations, plans, everything. Morgan took the device carefully. Why are you giving me this? Because working with your crew has shown me something the collective never understood. Different races do not need to become the same to work together. You, Maya, and Dr. Foster are very different people, but you respect each other's strengths. That is real cooperation. Before Morgan could respond, alarms began ringing throughout the ship. Amy's voice came over the communication system. Captain, to the bridge immediately. We have an emergency. Morgan and Alara ran to the bridge together. They found Amy standing at the communication console, looking pale. I found our second spy, Amy announced. Lieutenant Commander Julie Brooks tried to send a transmission to the collective warning them about our investigation. I intercepted it. Where is Brooks now? Morgan asked. Security has her in custody. But, Captain, there's more bad news. The transmission got out before I could stop it completely. The collective knows we're onto them. Maya looked up from her engineering station. Captain, I'm detecting ships on an intercept course. 3 vessels moving fast. On the main screen, they could see 3 gray ships approaching. The same type that had attacked New Haven. They're not waiting for us to reach Earth, Morgan realized. They're going. The 3 gray ships surrounded the Defiance like wolves hunting prey. Captain Morgan watched them on the main screen, knowing that her ship was outnumbered and outgunned. Their weapons charge differently than ours, Alara explained, standing beside Maya at the engineering station. They build up power slowly, but they hit much harder. If we can disrupt their charging cycle, I can modify our weapons to create interference, Maya said, her hands flying over the controls. But I need to know their exact frequency. Alara pulled out her communicator and accessed files she had never shared with humans before. Here, these are their technical specifications. Maya studied the data quickly. This is incredible. They're using quantum resonance to amplify their weapons. But that makes them vulnerable to feedback loops. The first gray ship fired. The Defiance shook as energy beams hit their shields. Shields down to 60%, Dr. Amy Foster reported from her station. Maya finished her modifications just as the second ship prepared to fire. Firing disruption pulse now. The gray ship's weapon systems flickered and went dark. The vessel drifted helplessly for several seconds before backup power came online. It worked! Amy shouted, but the victory was short-lived. The third gray ship had learned from watching the first 2. It fired from a different angle, using a frequency Maya had not prepared for. The blast punched through the Defiance's shields and hit the hull directly. Sparks flew from control panels and the lights flickered. Hull breach on Deck 4, Maya reported. Emergency teams responding. Captain Morgan knew they could not win this fight with weapons alone. They needed help. Open a channel to the Xanthari. Fleet, she ordered. Captain, that will reveal our position to everyone, Amy warned. We're dead anyway if we don't try something. The communication system crackled to life. Commander Zara's familiar voice came through, but there was strain in it. Captain Morgan, why are you contacting us on open channels? We're under attack by 3 gray ships, same type that hit New Haven. We need help. There was a pause. I cannot assist you. My ship has been compromised. What do you mean? My second-in-command attempted to murder me 3 hours ago. He was working for the same people who built those gray ships. I have him in custody, but I discovered that half my crew cannot be trusted. Morgan felt her heart sink. The collective's reach was even greater than they had imagined. Zara, we have information about their entire operation. If we can get it to the right people... The right people may not exist, Zara interrupted. I sent a report to my government about the traitors on my ship. They ordered me to return immediately and speak to no one. I think my superiors are involved, too. The gray ships pressed their attack. Maya managed to disable one completely, but the other two were adapting to her countermeasures. Each shot was getting closer to breaking through their defenses. Ilara was working at a secondary console, trying to contact her own people. Her face went pale as she read the responses. Captain, I just received word from the Elven Council. They are ordering me to surrender myself to Admiral Sullivan when we reach Earth. They say I have been compromised by human propaganda. Have you? Morgan asked. Yes, Ilara said simply. I have been compromised by truth. Dr. Amy Foster had been monitoring communication channels throughout the battle. Now she looked up with frightening news. Captain, I'm picking up transmissions. From Earth. Admiral Sullivan has assembled a huge fleet. They're not planning to investigate the collective. They're planning to cover it up. Maya managed to disable the second gray ship, but the third was still fighting. Worse, her sensors detected more ships approaching from multiple directions. We have company, Maya announced. 6 ships coming from Earth direction. 3 ships from Zenthari space, and 4 ships from the Elven territories. All of them? Morgan asked. All of them, Amy confirmed. We're surrounded by 3 different fleets. Commander Zara's voice came over the radio again. Captain Morgan, I am transmitting all my data about the collective to your ship. If I do not survive what is coming, at least someone will know the truth. Zara, don't do anything foolish. Too late for that. I have already decided to disobey. My government's orders. My ship is setting course for your position. We will fight together or die together. Maya was studying the data from Zara when she made a horrifying discovery. Captain, look at this. The collective has been conducting experiments on captured personnel from all 3 races. The data showed secret facilities where collective scientists had been trying to create hybrid beings, humans with elven telepathic abilities, elves with Zenthari strength, Zenthari with human adaptability. Most of the experiments had failed, but some had succeeded. They're not just stealing technology, Morgan realized. They're stealing people. Ilara was reading the same data with growing horror. Some of these test subjects are people I know. Diplomats who went missing, military officers who were reported killed in action. They're all here. The approaching fleets were close enough now for individual ships to be identified. Maya recognized several human vessels, but something was wrong with them. Captain, those ships have been modified. Their weapons signatures don't match standard designs, and their hull configurations... Maya paused. They look like they've been rebuilt using technology from all 3 races. Dr. Amy Foster was monitoring the communication channels between the approaching ships. What she heard made her blood run cold. They're not here to arrest us, she announced. They're here to eliminate all witnesses. The plan is to destroy our ship and blame it on the Zenthari. But there are Zenthari ships with them, Morgan pointed out. Those ships are part of the collective, too. They're going to attack the Zenthari fleet and make it look like a 3-way battle. When it's over, they'll claim that all 3 races started shooting and everyone died. The Bloodfang dropped out of hyperspace near the Defiance. Commander Zara's ship looked even more damaged than before, with blast marks covering its hull. Human friends. Zara's voice came over the radio. I have bad news. My government has declared me a traitor for helping you. My crew had to choose between loyalty to me and loyalty to our leaders. Most chose me, but some did not. We fought a battle inside our own ship. Are you secure now? Morgan asked. For the moment. But we cannot return home. We are outcasts. Maya was working frantically at her console, trying to find some way to escape. The trap. The approaching fleets had positioned themselves to block all escape routes. I have an idea, Maya said suddenly. It's crazy, but it might work. We're listening, Morgan said. The weapon plans that a friend sent us. They show how to turn a quantum drive into a space-ripping bomb. What if we don't make a bomb, but use the same principle to create a temporary wormhole? Can you do that? Ilara asked. Maybe. But it would require precise modifications to our drive system. And we'd need to coordinate with the Bloodfang to make it work. Commander Zara's voice came over the radio. Xanthari engineering is different from human engineering, but if you transmit the specifications, we will try. Maya began working on the modifications while Amy kept watch on the approaching fleets. Alara used her diplomatic codes to access collective communication channels, gathering intelligence about their plans. What Alara discovered made the situation even worse. Admiral Sullivan was not just a collective member, she was one of their leaders. The entire trap had been her idea. "Captain," Alara said quietly, "I need to tell you something about Admiral Sullivan. She recruited me into the collective 2 years ago. She told me that humans were too violent and needed to be controlled for their own good. You've been working for her this whole time?" "Yes. Until I saw how your crew really behaves. Sullivan lied to me about human nature. The first ships from Admiral Sullivan's fleet were now close enough to begin their attack. Maya's modifications were only half complete." "We need more time," Maya said. "Captain Morgan made a decision that would change everything." She opened a communication channel. "To all the approaching ships. This is Captain Lisa Morgan of the human vessel Defiance. We have evidence of a conspiracy that reaches the highest levels of all 3 governments. We request safe passage to present this evidence to neutral parties." Admiral Sullivan's face appeared on the main screen. She looked older than Morgan, remembered, with cold eyes that showed no warmth. "Captain Morgan, you are under arrest for treason, conspiracy, and collaboration with enemy forces. Surrender immediately or be destroyed." "We have evidence that you are part of a secret organization called the Collective," Morgan replied. "We know about the experiments, the stolen technology, and the plan to force our 3 races into a war." Sullivan's face did not change. "You have been compromised by enemy propaganda. Lower your shields and prepare to be boarded." "Never." Sullivan's smile was cold and cruel. "Then you will die as traitors. All ships, open fire." Maya's hands flew over her controls. As energy beams lit up the space around them, the Defiance and the Bloodfang fought desperately while Maya tried to complete her modifications. "Wormhole generator ready," Maya announced. "But I don't know where it will take us." "Anywhere is better than here," Morgan said, as the combined fleets closed in for the kill. Maya activated her improvised wormhole generator. Space twisted around the 2 ships, and they vanished into a tunnel of swirling light. The Defiance and the Bloodfang tumbled out of the wormhole into normal space. Both ships were damaged and spinning slowly. Maya's improvised wormhole generator had worked, but just barely. "Where are we?" Captain Morgan asked, pulling herself up from the floor where the rough exit had thrown her. Dr. Amy Foster checked the navigation systems. "Unknown sector. I'm not picking up any familiar star patterns. We could be anywhere in the galaxy." Maya was already working to repair the damage from their escape. "Both ships are intact, but our engines need work. It will take at least 6 hours to get back to full power." Commander Zara's voice came over the communication system. "Human friends, we have a problem. Our wormhole exit created an energy signature that can be tracked. The Collective will find us eventually." Captain Morgan realized they had bought time, but not safety. Admiral Sullivan would send ships to hunt them down. They needed a plan that would do more than just keep them alive. "We have evidence of the Collective's crimes," Morgan said, "but we need to get it to people who will believe us and act on it." Alara had been quiet since their escape, studying the data they had gathered. Now she looked up with something that might have been hope. "There are still honest people in all 3 governments," she said. "People who were not recruited by the Collective because they cannot be corrupted. If we can reach them." "How do we know who to trust?" Amy asked. "The Collective keeps lists of people they consider dangerous to their plans. People who ask too many questions, who refuse bribes, who put principle before profit. If someone is on their enemy list, they might be someone we can trust." Maya was listening while she worked on repairs. "Even if we find honest people, how do we contact them without the Collective knowing?" Alara smiled for the first time in days. "I know something about the Collective that they do not know I know. They have a backup communication system for emergencies. It connects to networks in all 3 governments, but they monitor it only occasionally." "Can you access it?" Morgan asked. "Yes. But once I do, they will know our location within hours. Morgan made her decision. Do it. We'll use those hours to prepare for the fight of our lives. While Ilara worked on accessing the collective's communication system, Maya made modifications to both ships. She had been studying the hybrid technology used by the Gray ships, and she had ideas about how to turn their own innovations against them. The collective's strength is that they combine technology from all three races, Maya explained to the others. But that's also their weakness. Their systems are complex and have compatibility problems. Dr. Amy Foster was analyzing the experimental data they had captured. What she found made her angry and determined. Look at this, she said, showing her findings to Captain Morgan. The collective has been kidnapping people for years. Hundreds of scientists, engineers, and military officers from all three races. They're being held in secret facilities and forced to work on hybrid technologies. Where are these facilities? Morgan asked. Hidden in asteroid fields on dead planets in areas where no government claims territory. But I think I can trace the supply shipments and find them. Commander Zara had been listening to their planning. If we can locate these facilities and free the prisoners, we will have hundreds of witnesses to the collective's crimes. Morgan nodded. And people with the skills to help us fight back. Ilara finished her work on the communication system. I'm ready to send our evidence to trusted contacts in all three governments. But once I start transmitting, the collective will track us. How long before they arrive? Morgan asked. 4 hours, maybe 5 if we're lucky. Maya looked up from her engineering console. That's enough time to finish my modifications. When they get here, they'll find us ready for them. Ilara began transmitting their evidence to carefully selected recipients. Government investigators who had been blocked from certain cases. Military officers who had asked uncomfortable questions about missing personnel. Scientists who had reported suspicious requests for their research. The transmissions went out in multiple formats to ensure they could not all be intercepted or destroyed. Video testimony from Ilara about her recruitment by the collective. Technical analysis from Maya showing how stolen technology was being combined. Intelligence reports from Zara about traitors in the Zenthari military. Medical evidence from Amy about the illegal experiments. As the hours passed, responses began coming back. Some recipients dismissed the evidence as enemy propaganda. Others promised to investigate, but a few believed immediately and began taking action. An honest admiral in the human fleet started quietly gathering loyal ships. A Zenthari general, who had lost friends to mysterious disappearances, began arresting suspected traitors. An Elven council member who had always opposed military cooperation with other races suddenly understood why she had been kept out of certain meetings. Maya's modifications were nearly complete when their sensors detected approaching ships. But these were not collective vessels. I'm reading multiple fleets converging on our position, Amy reported. Human, Zenthari, and Elven ships, all flying identification codes that match the people Ilara contacted. Admiral Kate Sullivan's fleet arrived an hour later, expecting to find 2 helpless ships waiting to be destroyed. Instead, she found a battle group of loyal vessels from all 3 governments protecting the Defiance and the Bloodfang. This is Admiral Sarah Williams of the human vessel Liberty, came a voice over the communication system. Admiral Sullivan, you are under arrest for treason and crimes against sentient beings. Sullivan's response was to order her fleet to attack. The battle that followed was unlike anything in recorded history. Ships from 3 different races fought side by side against their own corrupted governments. Maya's modifications proved crucial. She had designed jammers that disrupted the collective's coordination systems and weapons that could penetrate their hybrid shields. The honest forces won, but the cost was high. When the fighting ended, Admiral Sullivan was captured along with most of her subordinates. The evidence provided by Morgan's crew led to arrests throughout all 3 governments. The secret facilities were located and raided, freeing hundreds of prisoners. Commander Zara was cleared of all charges by her government and promoted for her courage in exposing the conspiracy. She became the first Zenthari officer to serve permanently, with human and elven forces. Ilara chose to leave the diplomatic corps and work as a cultural liaison, helping to build genuine understanding between the races. Her knowledge of collective operations made her invaluable in tracking down remaining cells. Dr. Amy Foster was appointed to head a new joint investigation unit tasked with preventing future conspiracies. Her skills in data analysis and pattern recognition made her perfect for the job. Maya became the chief engineer of the first truly integrated starship, a vessel that legitimately combined the best technologies from all three races. The ship was still painted black, but now it represented cooperation instead of secrecy. Captain Morgan took command of this new vessel, leading missions that proved different races could work together as equals rather than forcing them to become the same. The Defiance was retired and turned into a museum, a reminder that even in the darkest times, a few people willing to stand for truth could change everything. On the dedication day, Maya stood before the old ship and remembered the moment. When she first found those sabotaged wires, her gift for understanding machines had led her to discover a conspiracy that reached across the galaxy. "What are you thinking about?" Captain Morgan asked, joining her. "I'm thinking about how machines reflect the people who build them," Maya replied. The collective built systems that were complex and secretive, designed to control and manipulate. We built something simpler and more honest. "And stronger," Morgan added. "Their hybrid systems always had compatibility problems. Our cooperative technology works because we chose to work together." Ilara approached them, carrying a small child who had been rescued from one of the collective's experimental facilities. The little girl was a hybrid of human and elven genetics, but she had been raised with love instead of being treated as a laboratory subject. "She wants to be an engineer when she grows up," Ilara said. "Like Maya." Maya smiled and knelt down to talk to the child. "What kind of engineer?" "The kind who fixes things that are broken," the little girl replied. "That's the best kind," Maya said. As they walked away from the museum ship, Maya thought about the future. There would always be people who wanted to force unity through control and manipulation. But there would also be people willing to choose cooperation through understanding and respect. The black ship had served its purpose. It had carried them through the darkness and brought them into the light. Now it would rest, a symbol that even the most difficult problems could be solved by people willing to trust each other and work together. The galaxy was not perfect, but it was better. Different races could remain different while still being allies. Technology could be shared without being stolen, and sometimes a tinker's skill and a traitor's heart could both find redemption.